In this video, I want to look at different random sampling methods. And as you work through this video, make sure to check the description below for links to various resources that you can use to help you further your understanding on this topic. The first random sampling method is simple random sample. The idea of a simple random sample: every group of size n has the same chance of being selected. So any random group of a given size has the same chance that it is selected. A good way to visualize this method is drawing names from a hat. That would be a good example to help you visualize simple random sample. Here's a diagram that helps us see this. Here we have a total of 20 people, and we took a simple random sample of 5, and we got these random 5 people. Let's consider a situation. Here I have my teacher at the front of the room, and all of these squares are desks of students. And the teacher wants to select one row of students. And let's suppose they select the second row. Well, this is actually an example of something that is not simple random. Every student does have an equal chance of being selected. There are 5 rows. Each student has a 1/5 chance of being selected. However, not every group of size 4 had the same chance. For instance, this student here and this one here, it was impossible for them to be in the same group. So this is something that is not simple random sample. Instead, that was an example of a cluster sample. For a cluster sample, we start by sorting my population into groups. We then get a random selection of the groups, and we use every individual in the selected groups. So this is what I just did. For a cluster sample, our groups are usually determined by something like geographical location. In my example before, it was determined by the rows of desks in the classroom. Our teacher then selected one of the groups and used every individual in that particular group. We did one row and selected every student in that row. This teacher didn't have to select just one row. We could have selected 2 or 3 rows, and that still would have been an example of a cluster sample. Here's an example where we have 20 people broken up into 4 groups, and we've selected 2 of my groups randomly and all of the individuals from those groups. Similar to a cluster sample, we have what's called a stratified sample. A stratified sample also starts by sorting into groups, but these are usually grouped by some kind of characteristic. We then get a random sample from each group. So while a cluster sample gets a random selection of groups and uses every individual in that group, the stratified sample gets a random sample from each and every group. Stratified samples are great if you want to make sure you include an equal percentage of male or female, or you want to make sure you include different religious groups or something like that. This diagram shows us a stratified sample. In this case, we organized my stick figures by their color. We selected 2 stick figures of each color, so this would be an example of stratified. My final type of random sample is going to be a systematic sample. For a systematic sample, we select every nth member of the population. So we pick a number like 5, and we'll select every 5th person or every 5th item. These are really common in things like security checks, as well as testing things on an assembly line for defects. We may test every 1,000th item or every 10,000th item. And here's a diagram that shows here we selected every 4th person. So we selected this person, and we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, we selected every 4th member of the population. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any topics in particular in statistics that you would like to see on a later video, make sure to let me know in the comments below.